The 90-day rule is in the news yet again. This week, even the national newspapers in the UK are reporting that France looks to relax the 90-day limit and that Spain could follow suit. What's happening? I thought we sorted this out last week. Stick around and you'll find out. You're very welcome to YouTooSpain. Let's dance! Hi, I'm Skatz from YouTooSpain, and so am I, and I'll be tearing up the news once again to get to the bottom of what's actually happening. Last week, we reported on the claim that Spain's tourism minister was demanding a change in the EU's 9180 rule to allow Brits to stay for longer periods without a visa. Check out that video if you haven't watched it yet. There's a link below in the video description. I was going to move on to a different topic for this week's video, but would you believe it? The 90-day rule has hit the headlines again. This time though, it's not just in a few small local tabloids. There were headlines in the Telegraph, the Times, the Mail and the Daily Express, and some Brits are getting very excited. Apparently, ministers from both France and Spain have been in the UK talking about how to help British expats with holiday homes stay more easily for up to 180 days in a row instead of 90. And there's been a vote in France's Senate to amend the immigration law. Once again, it's all very exciting when you read the headlines. So let's have a look at these headlines, then dig a little bit deeper into the articles and find out what's actually going on and whether you should start packing your bags for a long winter in Europe. Just like last week, the biggest blast of hot journalism was from the hugely famous Mallorca Daily Bulletin, which shouted this: 90-day cap for Britons was discussed in London. Spain could follow French move to scrap it. And the sub-headline said, Spain appears determined to try and lift the 90-day cap for Britons coming to Mallorca and Spain in general. Spain's acting Minister of Industry, Trade and Tourism, Hector Gomez, confirmed this week that he held an important meeting instead of the usual unimportant ones in the Foreign Office with the Director of Consular Affairs and Crisis, nice title, Jennifer Anderson, in which they discussed issues of interest regarding the stays of British tourists in Spain. And an important precedent has been set in France, which Spain will hopefully look to follow for British second and holiday home owners. They go on to give details about the amendment to immigration laws in France to highlight what they hope to happen in Spain. So let's move to the national news outlets to get a slightly less excitable viewpoint of those law changes in France. Now, if like me, you don't have an online subscription to the Times and the Telegraph, all you'll be able to see are the headlines on there. So here's the Telegraph's effort. Punished enough by Brexit, France could relax 90-day rule for British second homeowners. Fortunately though, news outlets like the Mail Online and the Daily Express let you read their articles for free, and they seem to quote directly from the Telegraph anyway, so we can use those instead. Here are the important facts and details distilled from the journalistic fluff. France has given a boost to British nationals who own holiday homes in the country as it looks to relax its post-Brexit 90-day visa rule. Politicians have said British owners of French homes had been punished by Brexit, with the law limiting how long they could stay to 90 days out of every 180. In order to stay longer, Britons must apply for a long stay visa of up to 6 months. So there is already a tourism extension visa in France, unlike Spain. And now the country's Senate has voted through an amendment to the immigration law that will give British second homeowners the automatic right to a long stay visa. There's even a mention of King Charles to give strength to their argument. Ties are warming between France and the UK following the royal visit. And don't forget, King Charles reserved his only official speech for the French Senate. The British are privileged partners of France. History has shown this to be the case. Yeah, it was all hugs and kisses at Hastings and Agincourt and Waterloo, wasn't it? Well, yeah, apart from that though, it all sounds very positive. But if there's already a long-stay tourism visa for Brits in France, why do they need to amend it? Because it's a pain in the arse to keep on applying for it every year. It costs money each time and it's really difficult to get appointments to apply for it. So this amendment is basically a visa waiver to allow homeowners an automatic right to stay longer without the hassle. Exactly! You're brilliant! I know, but hold your horses, what's this? Towards the bottom of the news item, when most readers have given up and moved on, it turns out there's another step to the process of making the amendment happen. The amendment to the law still needs to be debated in France's National Assembly, that's the country's lower house, before it can be passed. Oh. The politician that tabled the amendment said that even if the amendment fails in the National Assembly, this is at the very least an important first step. The article goes on to say, Emmanuel Macron's government has said it will not support the amendment, arguing that the law already makes it possible for British holiday home owners to stay longer than the 90 days out of 180. That doesn't sound very positive anymore, does it? It does, however, go on to say, the government does not have a majority in the French Parliament, but it does seem that there's only minority support for the amendment, and that it's not very likely at all that it will be passed, according to the Telegraph. So once again, the news outlets have delivered the Brits a huge bag with hopeful headlines on the top and filled it with a stinking pile of excrement. All of the hopes of the same happening in Spain were kind of sat on top of this delightful little news bag. Well done then to the British press for their classic technique of building us up, then smacking us with a big bag of I would like to make an extra special mention of the efforts of the Mallorca Daily Bulletin. Which, if you look a little closer, does appear in this case to be the outlet for one man's mission to keep British expats believing that not only will the 90-day rule change in Spain, which it can't anyway because it's an EU rule as the tourism minister made very clear, but that there's the political will and enthusiasm to see, and I quote, reciprocal freedom of movement restored, or even for us to rejoin the EU one day. So well done to the 180 Days in Spain campaign for making the impossible sound possible. Yeah! Really good effort, full marks for that. Honestly though, I'm all in favour of people making an effort. The big newspapers, on the other hand, should really be more responsible with their headlines. Well, pigs might fly, but then again, who am I to talk? I'm no stranger to a bit of clickbait myself. That's all for now. Peace and love. See you on the next video. Let's dance.